World Cup series in canoe slalom. We're delighted to welcome you to the Prague Whitewater Centre. We're here at Prague Troje, 7.5 kilometres north of the mighty Czech capital. And this is the fearsome River Vltava. It sources down in the Bohemian forest in the deep south of the Czech. It carves its way right up through the centre of the Czech nation to Prague. And then it joins the River Elbe just north of Prague at Mielnik to go all the way out to the North Sea, drains into the North Sea at Cuxhaven. Delighted to welcome alongside me Naomi Fox. Naomi, well, it's a superb morning. It's a bit overcast this morning, but boy, oh boy, this is a serious competition. We've got only a couple of majors now left before the Olympics in Tokyo. Welcome. What can we expect this morning?
To be here. It wasn't easy for the Australians to get out, so I wish the rest of my team could be here with me, but yeah, it's a really exciting race here in Prague. I think a lot of people didn't really know what to expect and how to rank themselves against their competitors in the lead up to Tokyo, but you can feel quite a bit of tension and excitement in the air, so I think it's going to be a really exciting semi-final and then final later on this afternoon.
This is our programme for you today. We kick off with the women's kayak semi-final at 9 o'clock in just a couple of minutes. The men's kayak semis will come after that at 10:05, and then the two big finals this afternoon. This course, Naomi, is an absolute monster. 250 metres, and it looks really demanding.
Yeah, it's quite demanding from the start to the finish. I mean, Prague is well known for its very tight and tricky courses, so I think we'll see some really exciting paddling, especially from the Czech kayak men later on today. But no, I think it's a very exciting course, some very challenging moves, lots of stopper moves as well, so lots of places to lose speed, but also lots of places to gain speed and get in front. So I think we'll see some incredible runs from the ladies this morning.
And the quality, we can tell you, is absolutely jam-packed through both the women's and the men's canoe and kayak classes. They're world champions, the Olympic champions, they're all here, and of course, so close now to Tokyo. This is getting very tense in terms of the Olympic build-up as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you can see a lot of Olympic qualified paddlers. They're very nervous at the start line because they want to make sure that they're in the best possible preparation and to see how they rank themselves against their fellow Tokyo selected paddlers. But here we have Ida Novak. So she's rocking a very beautiful boat that I hadn't seen before because I haven't seen a lot of people for a long time. But she's starting the semi-final for the ladies this morning.
So yes, Ida Novak is away. Under 23 World Championships, 8th in 2012. She's a local to the great Tassen course in Ljubljana in Slovenia, the site of last autumn's World Cup. Already into a bit of bother getting back to the second upstream gate at 8.
Yeah, you can see that she just missed the wave a little bit, and that's actually quite valuable time that she's lost there, so hopefully she can speed it up down the bottom a little bit, but you really have to stick to the inside pole during those staggers and their touch that she nipped going into gate 12, and you can see she's also low in gate 13, so that's also a lot of energy that she's lost, struggling to get into the upstream. But yeah, so she'll have to be quite wise with her timing strokes down the bottom.
3 out of the 6 upstream gates have been completed by the Slovenian Ida Novak. This is now a very intense passage. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, Naomi, is the teeth of the course at the end.
Yeah, I think this is where you could lose quite a bit of time, and you have to be very, very careful going into gate 18 to not hit gate 19. If you're a bit low and you take gate 19 before the upstream, then that's a 50-second penalty. So hopefully we won't see that today, but she kind of battled her way through that sticky water, but she got through. And also the finish is quite niggly as well, so just downstream gates, but you have to be very careful and use the water wisely.
Yeah, you could really see the precision as she came in those last upstream gates. She was very deliberate and almost slow to avoid a 2-second penalty for contact.
Yeah, definitely. Finishing with a 1:13, so that's our benchmark, I guess, for the start of the semi-finals. I'm thinking that maybe we'll get into a 1:05, maybe. I'm not sure actually, but we'll see what the last few girls do.
Elena Apple is away second of the lady semis, 22 years of age, from Augsburg, down in the south of Germany. She started kayaking at 6 years of age, coached by Mira Faber. The European champ, she was here in 2018 at Prague, and she won a C1 bronze medal. So
yes.
Very versatile.
Yeah, so Elena is one of the only Germans that doubles up, and she's an incredible paddler in both categories, and it's really not easy to double up in Germany. I know they prefer to just have single class competitors, but I think she's just an incredible paddler in both. Very strong, an incredible style, and she trains with Ricardo Funk as well, so she's a very good paddler. Just a touch on gate 6, but you can see that she's maintaining really good boat speed and keeping her boat above the water very nicely in this bottom section.
And what is pretty striking about this River Vltava course is that it's dammed by a 3.6 deep dam, and the water's very calm before, of course, the start of this track, but then it gets very serious and wavy and choppy and turbulent. What's your sort of overall impression, Naomi, of the course?
I mean, at the start of the course, you don't really get much whitewater exposure, so we're warming up on the flat, and then it's straight into these intense waves. But I think most people that are here, and especially those that are in the semi-final, they know the course quite well. They've had a few World Cup experiences on this course, so that's what makes it also such a tricky semi-final and final. Everyone knows the course very, very well, and she's had a pretty good run.
Yeah, she's powering across the line, just but for that one touch at gate 6. That's a very quick time, nearly 10 seconds to the good of the Slovenian first down, the ladies kayak semis.
Yeah, there we go, 104. I think that will be a very solid time, and hopefully a final time. And we'll see if we can get any 100s, but I think 104 from Elena Apple was a very great run, so congrats to her.
The third for Russia getting underway. Ekaterina Perova from Moscow, studied applied biotechnology at Moscow University. She was at the European Champs in Markkleeberg in Germany. That will be next week's World Cup at the same venue. 23rd in the K1 class there back in 2015.
Oh, so you can see that she didn't quite get into the stagger as she would have liked, so she's doing wasting a lot of time actually. So with these gates you really have to be inside pole and really try to squeeze into those staggers, and if you don't, then it's very costly if you have to do a recirc, and missing that wave into gate 8 as well is quite costly. Hopefully,
She's having a nightmare start.
Yeah, the thing is, with this sort of course, if you don't get in the groove from the start, it can be really hard to try catch up, and I guess the key is to not compound errors. If you have a little error, you've just got to try, ignore that and keep your head in the game as much as you can, because it's never over until you cross the finish line on a course like this.
Yeah, it looks like things will come at you very, very sort of thick and fast here. If you make a little error, you get out, as you say, of the rhythm, then you are in trouble.
Definitely, and I think you'll see that the best runs we'll see today are from those paddlers that are incredibly agile and flexible and can just, move their head quickly and get into those gates and squeeze their bodies.
They're ducking and weaving sort of style.
Definitely.
Yeah, so early troubles for Ekaterina Perova, sadly. And this is this very intense late section of the course, which, well, I think looking at the course on sort of walking on inspection now, looks like it will be crucial as the semis progress. What's your sort of feeling about that late part of the course?
Yeah, look, I think that's where you can gain a lot of time or lose a lot of time, and a lot of paddlers might try to be very cautious to not hit the gates, but I think the best paddlers will just paddle it and really try to keep the boat moving as much as they can, because as soon as your boat stops on this course, you just get caught in that sticky water and the clock just ticks and ticks. So I think, the best paddlers will see they'll just do that course as if it's on the flat water and keep their boat moving as much as they can.
Yeah, so trouble for Ekaterina Perova. Sadly, she takes her head in her hands, very frustrated. Those problems came very early and not the run she wanted. But as we say, that is the nature of this Vltava beast.
And here we have Lucy. I think it's her first time on the Czech team.
It is.
Yeah. Very exciting to see some new Czech paddlers. It's one of the toughest teams to make, especially in kayak men. So to see some new faces is really incredible, and the depth that they have in the sport is it's fascinating, really, seeing all those young kids down the bottom warming up and just doing their training sessions as the World Cup had their training sessions on. So she's having a little bit of a tricky run. She had to do a recirc at the top, so that's a lot of time lost. You can see she's quite down on the split in comparison to Elena Apple. but she's, I guess, showing us what she can do down the bottom. This is her home course, I guess.
Yeah, she's just 18 years of age. It's her premier year, as we say, alongside Katerina Kujova and Antony Galaskova for the Czech national senior team. She was 20th in the World Cup in Po at K1 late last year, and she was at the Junior Europeans just last year as well for 15th position. So that is just how raw she is in a big occasion.
And I was watching her Czech selections because I was still in Australia when they were having them, and she had some really great runs. So very exciting to see what she'll do later on in her career as well. And I'm sure she's so stoked to be able to do a World Cup in front of her family and friends at home, who will be watching behind the screens because we have no spectators here, but nevertheless.
Exactly, a sad sight with the course closed off to the Prague people, but Lucy Nez-des-all comes home, and it's going to be third position, 25 3/4 seconds down on Elena Apple, leads the way, but early days yet in this ladies semi-finals.
Yeah, so maybe Ursa will be able to do a more competitive time to Elena Apple. She did those 5, 6, 7 staggers very well, opting for the spin. So we might see a few directs. That's also one of the options for that piece of the course, whether we go spin or direct to use the wave. Save that situation very well.
Now, this is the ducking and diving you were referring to, Naomi. Ursa Kragel is on course for Slovenia. Ursa, 32 years of age, from Ljubljana, definitely out of the way of 13 at downstream gates.
Yeah, and she did that very, very well, getting caught into the wave but not losing too much time. And this is mainly the only area of the course where you can take a second to breathe. You can see she took a deep breath in and getting ready for this bottom section of the course. Let's see how she goes.
Started canoeing at 10 years of age in Solkan at home in Slovenia. Both her father and brother also paddlers. That was on the great Soccer River.
Yeah, so being a little bit conservative down there, getting caught in that little stopper, but she did a really nice last up left, and now only the staggers left to go. I think she'll be a bit behind Elena. Elena had an incredible bottom, really powerful. You can see that she just paddled the whole way. And a touch on gate 23 on the stagger, so that's a very costly and painful penalty down the bottom of the course.
Yeah, superstar for Ursa Kragel, but she comes home. It's going to be 4 seconds exactly behind Elena Apple, but good enough for second place. Doesn't look too happy with that. I guess that was a bit disappointing late on. I'm
not sure if that's a time that would make the final, but at this rate we haven't had any consistent paddling that really challenges the 1:04 time set by Elena. We'll see what Lena can do for us. Lena's a young paddler as well, and very, very strong, and she's improved so much in the last few years.
Yeah, it's just 10 ladies we will take forward to the finals. Lena Torinoson, 23 years of age, from Eindhoven down in the deep south of the Netherlands. Her father brought her into the sport, paddling hard back up to 8. Obviously went a little bit outside the line there to then have to make up some time.
Yeah, well, she's up on the split. That was a bit of a tight line that she took in that last stagger, and opting for the spin here. Ooh, yeah.
No.
So that was a very challenging. Now she's going to try to go back up. If you miss that gate 12, it's a very hard gate to go back for. So she's doing well to keep fighting and finish the course.
So opting to retake the gate rather than take the 50 seconds for missing it.
Yeah, I think that's the fighting spirit we like to see, always trying to finish the course, because, I mean, I guess the mentality is you never know, you don't want to finish with a 50-second penalty. But, yeah, that's quite unfortunate because that's a long loss. That's quite a bit of time lost there from Lena, but she's finishing the course off in style, so it's good to see.
But she's some talent, Lena Torinoson. She was at the Europeans in Ivrea this year on the beautiful Dora Baltea at the foot of the Aosta Valley. She was 7th individually in the K1 class there, so that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, no, I think Lena has a really nice style. She's quite smooth, and she makes it look quite effortless sometimes. You can see that she uses the water really well, and it's not just pure grit. And she's had some really good races, and she's the team partner for Martina Wegman, who's off to the Olympics. So I think they train really well together, and we look forward to seeing her in lots more semi-finals and finals later on.
So Lena Torinoson braves home through the Vltava River. currents and rapids in the white water. Frustration hits her head, but okay, she's on a steep learning curve, and that's one that she'll just file, but she'll be back. Now, serious stuff here, because Great Britain's Fiona Penny, one of the toughest competitors out there, is on course. As you see, 2013 European champion.
There we go. So we've had a direct from Fiona Penny, 7 to 8. So she caught that wave really well, didn't lose any time, and now heading into to the tough staggers, and she didn't quite get across as she should have. So she tried to do quite a tight exit from the upstream, but as you can see, she didn't quite get across, and so had to do a resoak. So that's a lot of time lost by Fiona Penny, and we've seen a lot of girls struggling on that section, so it's actually better to give lots more room as opposed to try taking the risk on those sorts of staggers.
This Vltava course was constructed in 1980 and artificially made, and I read a lot of the paddlers love this course particularly now. I mean, I guess that is because of its intensity. They know that if they're going to come here and perform, they've got to bring their A game. You can't come here sort of not pull any punches.
Yeah, and I think it's also such a great course to just paddle on and to try different moves. And in the training we have so many gates. I mean, you kind of just get very overwhelmed by the number of gates they put in the training, and it means that you can try so many different moves and just have fun. I think people come here because they realize why they love the sport and the waves, and it's just such a good place to be, to train and to compete, and the people are so nice. So disappointing to see Fiona Penny. I know she will be very upset with this run, but I think, like most people, well, the Brits especially, they haven't really been able to compare themselves to any other European country or other countries, so it's a good, it's good for them to get back onto the start line and to compare themselves and to be here. Just to simply be here is really great for the Brits and the Australians as well.
Well, Fiona Penny grits her teeth. The double Olympian crosses the line. Not the run she would have wanted, but this lady is a serious challenger. 38 years of age she'll be actually tomorrow. She was born in Bratislava. Jana Ducatova is on course here for Slovenia, and she's fighting early on.
Yeah, so I think Jana will do well on this course because she's a very smooth and composed paddler. She doesn't take many risks, but she knows how to position her boat into the right spot. And so, yeah, you can see setting herself up nicely, quite low into that upstream. So not getting much speed up into the eddy, and that's the time ticking as well, but no major mistakes. So we haven't really had many paddlers go down without any major mistakes yet, so maybe this will be enough to be competitive with Elena Apple, who's still leading.
This course has got great memories for Jana. She was the world champion here back in 2006 at just 23 years of age, so that was an incredible world victory for her. That huge stopper down into this intense part of the course.
Yeah, so you could see that she was quite close to gate 19, but managed to get into the upstream before hitting gate 19, and quite conservative on this bottom section, and I think that will be quite costly in time. I know the leading time set by Elena was very powerful down the bottom, so this is maybe a little bit too conservative to be competitive, and we can see that the clock is ticking, so unless there's a very fast sprint, we're going to be quite far behind.
Now this is the 8th of the 30 that come this morning. If you're just joining us, welcome to the Prague Whitewater Centre. Early stages. I'm alongside Naomi Fox in this ladies kayak semi-final, and it's causing havoc, but now this lady we've mentioned, she's off to Tokyo, and let's hope for Martina Wegman's chances.
Yeah, Martina, who mainly trains in New Zealand, I'm excited to see what she can do because, again, she's quite she puts herself in the right position, and she knows how to position her boat through these staggers and to just focus on the water pacing and going direct. We haven't seen many directs apart from Fiona Penny, but she executed that really well, and let's see how she exits into the staggers. Nice and spacious.
And the time's very good.
Spin.
1 3/4 up.
Yeah, so she didn't quite line herself up as she would have liked because she did an unintentional spin and saves that situation quite well. You can see she keeps her boat very, very flat, and so she gets out of some pretty good situations and on a pretty good run so far. We'll see how she can hold herself down the bottom. Lost a bit of time up the top after the first split, but I think, yep, she's still in the time, so very good run so far from Martina Wegman.
from Schorl up in the north of the Netherlands, North Hollands province, just north of Amsterdam. She won the Extreme K1 silver, the world champs in Rio, but in serious
that was
strife.
Very, very tight, yeah. Oh. So I was about to say that was the nicest line we've seen into that up, but she just let herself kind of go way too tight, and so unfortunately that's a 50-second penalty because she didn't get her full head into the gate.
But you exactly explained the very fine, precise margins of the sport. It is knife edge, isn't it? And if you're either very good or you're facing a 50 penalty.
Oh no, gutted for Martina, because that was a really good run that we saw from her, and I know she'll be disappointed. We just needed 2 extra centimeters of neck stretch to get into that upstream.
Yeah, what a great effort from Martina Wegman. But it comes unstuck at the upstream gate, I'm afraid, and still Elena Apple is our leader. And now we come to Austria. Victoria Wohlfahrt getting underway, 26 years of age, from Tulln and the Donau, a huge river in the heart of Austria, so her birth in the sport, no surprise.
Yeah, so Vicky's a very powerful paddler, and she uses a lot of grit and speed, and I'm very excited to see what she can do today. I think she's conservative when she needs to be, but she knows how to really attack it, and I really love her fighting spirit, so let's hope she can put down a competitive run. It would be really cool to see some closer times, and opting for the back off, which isn't something we've seen yet, but she executed that really well and is quite on track for a solid run, and uses the water really well and stays on that upstream stroke, but just gets caught into the entry of the up 13.
3 medals at the World Championships, with silvers in the K1 team in 2014. That was at Deep Creek Lake in Maryland in the USA, again in Po 2017, and a C1 team bronze in 2015, but 16 is going to be a penalty.
Yeah, so she's lost quite a bit of time on the bottom section, and that costly penalty is going to add some time as well. I think it's been quite a battle for the Austrians, and quite a mental game with their ongoing Olympic selections, so it's we'll see how they go today, but quite sticky on that bottom section, and even there you can see that she gets caught into the entry into up 21. So this course is really a battle from start to finish. You can't stop until you pass the finish line, because there's always a moment where you could gain time or lose time from start to finish, whether that's even on the flat after the gates have stopped. So yeah, unfortunately for Vicky, the time escaped her down the bottom.
Yeah, so Elena Apple still holds on. 104.26 is the time to beat. We have now paddled 10 of the 30, a third of the way through this ladies kayak semi-final. And this lady you'll know very well, Luca Jones from New Zealand, 32 years of age, North Islander from Tauranga, Harbourside City, faces the great Bay of Plenty, now from Auckland.
Yeah, it's so cool to see Luca here, and to see some other paddlers from Oceania. It's Luca and Finn Butcher from New Zealand that have made it out, and she's opted for the spin, but so far it's quite a smooth run from Luca. No major time losses apart from the touch on gate 7 that we didn't quite see, so it must have been a small one, but other than that she's still up on the split despite the touch, so this is a solid run, and just missed the wave. So you could see that she was pointing downstream too much in gate 12, so she didn't manage to get caught by the wave, but she's such a strong paddler that I think that she can still gain speed despite that little time loss down the bottom.
Kiwi phenomenon, heading to her 4th Olympics in Tokyo in both C1 and K1 disciplines. Rio Olympic individual silver was the first ever New Zealand canoe slalom medal for Luca Jones.
And you can see that the bottom split, so despite the touch and the time loss, she's still up, very close to the split, and I think that bottom section is probably the nicest one we've seen. A bit crowding into that last upstream, but she's so strong. I think she can pull off a good run, and I really hope she does. It's really cool to see some Oceania paddlers, and it would be great to see them in the final as well. So solid run from Luca. You just got I guess this will just be a practice run for her C1, and that's one of the best things about doubling up, is that you have another shot, you know, and you learn so much from doing both classes as well. So she'll take on these lessons for her C1 tomorrow, and also just a better race experience for Tokyo, because she's so young, and she's got a lot of races ahead of her. So you'll see that she'll always fight to the end, and I think that's one of her greatest qualities.
Yes, Evie Lee Parth coming down to the finish line. She'll be the youngest ever athlete to represent the USA in the canoe slalom in Tokyo. Pan American champion, K1 gold in 2019 as well, and a silver in the extreme again at those Pan Americans.
Yeah, so we can see that we've had quite a messy semi-final so far. It's such a tricky course, and we'll see how they go in the second half of the semis.
As away now, Slovenia's Eva Tercelj. This is the world number 4 in the rankings, heading for Tokyo 2020, and the reigning world champion as well from La Seu d'Urgell in Spain 2019. But again, she's also in trouble at the start. Yeah,
so 3 touches, so that's plus 6 seconds of penalty, and despite that, she's still relatively competitive in time on the first split. But I think one of the most important things at the start is to know that if you touch, it's okay, it's not over. This is such a hard course. You've just got to compose yourself and finish. But I think plus 6 seconds will be quite tight, and I'd be surprised if we see that in the final. But despite that, she's relatively tight in terms of the split.
Just important to say, Naomi, this is no freak of a result here, how difficult this Vltava course is, because I noticed last year at the Europeans in the men's C1, there were only 2 out of the final 10 men that had no penalties, and both Chanu and Joly, the Olympic and world champions, they both, I think, missed 4 gates in last year's Europeans, so that is how difficult this course is.
Yeah, definitely, and also I think we can see how difficult it is based on the fact that you can be with 6 to 8 penalties and be quite competitive. So despite her penalties, she's quite competitive here. So it's a shame for all those touches, because plus 3.9 seconds behind will be, I'm not sure if that will make it into the final.
Up at the start, Marie-Eleanor Lafont, next to come, 34 years of age. Hails from Orthez in the Pyrenees-Atlantique department in the southwest of France, 40 kilometres northwest of Pau, the other Super World Cup venue where the finals will be held in September of this season. Twice a World Cup winner, Naomi in 2016 and 2020. That was both in Pau, K1 wins.
Oh, nice. So she's had a very nice start.
Sharp start.
Very sharp start, and a bit out of control on that stagger, but getting into the wave and getting into the up, she makes it. Not as smoothly as she would have liked, but if she can compose herself and keep it up into the staggers, then the rest of the course might flow quite nicely. And she holds it together quite well and gets caught into the wave.
Yeah, just getting buffeted into that stopper. It's a huge water, but still going very well.
Yeah, pretty solid start. No touches so far. First of the 3 French women to line themselves up into the semi-final, and she's just a second down, so that's quite good. And now she just needs to take a second to breathe and set herself up for the bottom of the course. But this is quite a solid run that she's saved from mistakes so far.
There's a little break between 16 and 17, but there wouldn't be a huge amount of catch-up time, sort of potential in the last part of the course.
So there she lost quite a bit of time getting caught into that wave. You don't want it to catch you. You want to kind of just use it and keep
flow
paddling
with it rather than get sort of halted by it.
Yeah, definitely, and that will be a bit of costly time that she lost there, but nevertheless, I think it's a composed run from Marie-Eleanor.
Yeah, she grits her teeth, the French canoeist as Marie-Eleanor Lafont crosses the line. It's going to be 4 seconds just over. Outside of Elena Apple, she came very early, the German, and still 4 seconds clear of this world-class field.
She's still holding her rank, and you can see we have a lot of young paddlers that are coming to the start line at World Cups now, including Woman. So it's really exciting to see this younger generation come through in style, really.
Yes, we stay with France, and this is an extraordinary young talent in her early 20s. Superb World Cup form late last year. Her first World Cup win came in Tassen in Ljubljana in October, and then at home at Po was second in the World Cup in November. Big talent, and she started pretty smoothly here.
Yeah, she nailed that top section, got her nose a little bit caught, but she is very composed, and I think she'll be quite in touch with the first split. She's gone through those staggers very, very well, so this is an incredible run so far from Vogman. I hope she can hold it together until the end, and a bit low into gate 13, but you know, it's not worth stressing. There's so much time to gain down the bottom, so far it's been quite smooth, and she's a very composed paddler. I think the kaipi suits her very well. She keeps her boat very flat and also aggressive when she needs to be. So far all of the ups have been very, very well done.
And Romain will be frustrated not to be selected for the French for Tokyo. Her eyes very firmly fixed on Paris 2024, and of course she'd love to say hello to the selectors here, wouldn't she, with a strong result?
Yeah, I mean, I think it will be an incredible battle between the two cousins, Kenny and Romain. They are very competitive together, and I'm sure they love training together. So this is a really good run from Romain. She's got such a great future ahead of her as well, and I love her style and the way she keeps her boat flat and just reaches at the front. So no major mistakes. I think it will be just a little bit behind, but she's fought so well.
Romain Préjean coming home. Again, biceps now full of lactic acid. She crosses the line and goes 4.85 seconds outside. And we are at the halfway stage, and still, Naomi, we're waiting for the paddlers to get a real grip on the scruff and collar of this ladies' semi-finals.
Yeah, so I mean, so far it's been quite a tough semi-final. You can see how the girls have been struggling a little bit, and here we have a very exciting Czech paddler, young, dynamic, and I love her style so much, and saved that situation quite well. But you can see that as soon as you lose speed, it's just a challenge to get back on it. And on touch on gate 3, a few mistakes, but if she can show us what she's got and what she's made of down the bottom, then it's not over.
No, it's not. Only a second down. Anthony Galaskova we're referring to. She was the junior world champion 2 years ago in 2019, and junior European champion formerly as well. She made this ladies kayak final, the last 10 of the Europeans that were here last year at the Prague Whitewater Centre. She was actually up at the first split in the Europeans, but then had a 50-second penalty late on in the course. That's her talent. And
you can just see how far she is, because her top section is definitely not what she wanted to deliver, and it was quite messy, but she's only 1.7 seconds behind. So if she had really executed that, I think she would have just blown out the stopwatch, and that is probably the best we've seen, negotiating those bottom staggers. She didn't get caught into those waves. Shame about that touch. Just hitting it with her arm, but we can see how she finishes. Maybe she can do a little bit of a competitive time, but those two touches will be quite costly with the
yeah, she's got a great style, hasn't she, Naomi?
Yeah, she
you say this lovely, long, slow, sort of nonchalant rhythm, but then she's got these lovely, deft little touches. She's very adept with the paddle.
Yeah, she'll be frustrated with that. I think she has an incredible style. Like you said, her long arms, she's well known for those sweeps, and it's a shame for that up. I mean, I'm sure she's done it hundreds of times, but again, it's her second time on the team, I think.
We go now to Andorra. Monica Doria Villarubla is on the course. World number 10, another young gun, just 21 years of age, based in Spain. She was the junior European champion for the C1 class. That was in Hohenlimburg in Germany, 2017, and off to a very good start here again.
Yeah, very smooth start apart from a touch on gate 7, but that's, I mean, at this rate, you know, you can't let that affect you, and she's still negotiating these staggers quite well. Very conservative when she needs to be, but she's controlled her bow very well through those staggers, and if she can get caught into that wave nicely, yep, getting into gate 13 a little bit low, but you know, the speed is still there, and she moves her boat as she needs to. So this is quite a strong start from Monica.
Just shows the precision required again though at 7, because it was just the bow of her boat hitting that gate. So she could have been a bit more central.
Yeah, I mean, it's so hard to control everything. You have to control the water, the wind sometimes, and then your bow, and there are a lot of things to take into consideration and to put into the equation to execute. So it's quite challenging, but she got a little bit caught down there, and you can see she's 2 seconds, a bit over 2 seconds down, and again getting caught there is quite sticky, so that adds quite a bit of time. I don't think it will be close to the 104. We're yet to have some competitors come down and challenge Elena Apple.
And this young lady earned her Tokyo place at the 2019 World Championships at Liceo. That was 30th in the K1, 8th in the C1 class there. She'll go to Andorra to Tokyo for both C1 and K1 classes.
Yeah.
And that is only the second time that Andorra has had a representative, I get there, at the Olympics after Montserrat Garcia Ribaguera. That was back in Hong Kong in 08. So history for Andorra.
Yeah, definitely. And here we have another young Tokyo-bound competitor, Claudia. She is just an incredible paddler, very strong, also doubles up, and hope she can hold it together, because when she does, she can execute some incredible runs.
Yes, another youngster, early 20s, 22 years of age. Claudia Volinski from Poland has had a dazzling youth career already. She made her senior debut in Tassen, Slovenia, near Ljubljana, in the World Cup of 2015, and she's ahead on the clock despite the early penalty.
Yeah, despite the early penalty, you can see that she also opted for the spin, and I think it's probably worthwhile to go a bit conservative on those staggers. A bit low into gate 13, but she kept her boat tracking quite nicely, and you can see that she's still very calm and composed, so she's not letting that get to her, and it can all be made up down in the bottom section, and she's still up on the split, so but another touch on an upstream, so 2 touches on a left upstream.
Yes, a real shame, because this course has got great memories for her. She was just 17 years of age in 2016, 5th in the World Cup here at the Prague Whitewater Centre.
Finishing off that last up left quite nicely, and a very fast and tight exit towards the next stagger. So despite those touches, she'll still be quite competitive if she can sprint to the finish line.
Yeah, Claudia Volinski putting her foot to the metal. She's not far down despite those penalties, and she's ahead. Finally, we get some clearance at the top.
Wow, so we can see that she did a 100, so if we can get some clean runs down, then that is the time to beat. But great run from Claudia. She didn't let it get to her, and she just kept on delivering her run as she can, so great job.
A deep exhalation for Corrina Cooner for the Czech Republic, 2015 world champion, world number 10 currently. This is her home city, Prague. She was the European champion as well here in 2020. And, well, the door's open. You fancy on home watch. She knows it like the back of her hand.
Ooh, touch on gate 6, quite tight, that line that she took, and opting for the direct on gate 7, getting caught quite nicely into the upstream, and a very quick upstream, so setting herself up for the staggers quite nicely and in touch with the split.
That World Championship victory was at Lee Valley Whitewater Centre in Great Britain, another very choppy artificial course in Essex.
So a little bit caught out of the exit and into the entry of the up 13, but she's still got a good pace, and you can see that she's in touch again with the split on the second split, so setting herself up for the bottom half of the course. This is a very solid run from the Czech. Ooh, yeah, bit too risky, and to do a recirc and add a penalty, that is quite a lot of time. Very unfortunate.
Just 12 more ladies to come, and this is the last chance for the home nation to have one through to the ladies kayak finals.
I think those errors on the bottom section, the recirc, the penalty, but then also getting really caught into this stopper into the last up left, that will be very costly. And yeah, unfortunately, that won't be enough to make it into the final.
Yeah, Corrina Cooner, world and European champion, crosses the line. It's causing havoc this morning, this ladies semi-finals, 7.98 seconds down on the leading time.
Exciting to see another young paddler, young German. So Anna is, wow, nice run straight into it. Really good up three, probably the best we've seen so far, and also great composure into these staggers, back off, but controlled that really well. And opting for the direct as well, you can see that she holds her bow quite nicely, and it's very light on the water, so she just executed those staggers and that top section very nicely, and holding very controlled and up on the split. So this is a great top section from Anna.
Yeah, this is very cool. Anna Faber, 25 years of age, from Augsburg down in the south of Germany. Followed her two brothers into canoeing. They lived on the River Rhine previously. A sports soldier, sports soldat of the Bundeswehr. Communication and media studies at the University of Augsburg previously.
So again, a nice upstream from Anna. Despite the touch, she's just 1 second down, but that is quite in touch with the split and can be enough to make a top three in our current semi-final standards. Quite low into up 13, but if she keeps her boat moving and doesn't get caught, then it can be quite smooth. Just getting a little bit stuck, and yeah, on the exit, letting her bow hit gate 21, so that's a very costly penalty. She's accumulated 2 extra touches on the bottom section, and that will be quite challenging to be competitive now in the final time.
Yeah, this course is proving treacherous this morning because it was a superb start from Anna Faber. She's going to come home still with a okay time, but puts her paddle in the air as if to say, not happy, Naomi. It was a super start.
Yeah, so we're entering our last 10 paddlers into the semi-final, so we'll start seeing who's qualified. It's been a very challenging course so far, and we'll see what Camille Prigent can do for us. She's a very calm and composed paddler from France, and she's had a lot of racing experience in Prague, so she knows this course really, really well.
This is her favourite course as well. She'll also paddle next weekend in the World Cup at Markleberg in Germany. She's selected for Tokyo as the sole French kayaker. Chasing down the Polish time of Katarzyna Zwolinska, 35.37, and it's tight here, 900ths only separating.
Yeah, so very close to Claudia's time, and she's had a very, very smooth and solid start. I think Kenny has a very smooth style and not much of a risk taker, but just sets herself up as she needs to and paddles in between, and that's what really works. It's very effective. Her strokes really get her to where she needs to be, and I think this is all that you need on this sort of course. It's maintaining composed and setting yourself up for the sequence, and that's what she's doing really well so far. And entering our crunch section,
yeah,
very,
this is
very
nails,
well.
Isn't it? Beautifully off the stopper.
And not getting caught into the stopper, into the next stagger, so that's done really well, and just a little bit caught there, but if she keeps her bow down and avoids the penalty really well. So I think this will be a good time from Kenny.
And these boils are so difficult here, Naomi, as well, where this very frothy white water is bubbling up on these artificial courses. It just throws the kayak offline.
Yeah, definitely. And because she's so light, she can just kind of bounce on top of them. So very good time from Kenny, ranked 4th. Quite tight, but you know what, at this stage you don't know. So I think that was a good run, no major mistakes, and she'll be quite stressed and disappointed at this stage, but we'll see what happens, really.
Austria's last chance for the finals, and Vienna-based Corrina Cooner is on course. 33 years of age, world rank number 2, and double European champion just 5 weeks ago. Took the crown in Ivrea, the beautiful turquoise river of the Dora Baltea. She's in great form, but already early problems for the Austrian.
Ooh. Yeah, quite a few problems. Started with a touch on gate 3, but then a bit greedy on the stagger section, and anticipated a bit too early, and as a result missed one of the staggers and had to do a very costly loop, which will probably affect the rest of her run, maybe mentally. Yeah, another touch on gate 7. So unfortunately it's all over for the for this run.
It just shows the demands of this course, because Corrina, double world champion 2 years back to back, won in Tassin in 2010, and the following year 2011 in Bratislava. So that's her class, and It's causing problems throughout, whether they're young and inexperienced or former world champions. Doesn't seem to bother the river Vltava.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the best things about our sport is not only does it cause problems for all types of people, but it also opens opportunities for all types of people. So we have short, tall, you know, young, old paddlers that can make a final, and I think being able to see that opportunity for the young generation is incredible and incredibly motivating as well, to think, well, I can compete with Olympic champions or world champions or European champions. So that's what keeps our sport incredibly exciting, also incredibly frustrating, I should add, because the lack of consistency makes it
Well, this was the
hard.
word that was leaping into my mind, consistency, Naomi.
Yeah.
That is the thing, isn't it? Being a big champion, but doing it time and time again with all the variables we're mentioning, that is the real art of the sport.
Definitely, and I think there are a few things that, you know, you have to kind of try to control what you can in such an uncontrolled environment. So, you know, your mental, your attitude, I guess that's one thing you can control, but, you know, what your boat does, that's quite hard to control sometimes. So we have our first qualified for the final, Claudia.
Yes, exactly, because only now a handful more to drop, and this lady's wonderfully talented. She's the reigning Olympic champion from Rio 2016. It was the first ever canoe slalom gold for Spain. She won by 3 seconds, a bit more than that for the Olympic title. And Miley Shaw is on the course. She goes to her 4th Olympics this year in Tokyo. Currently world number 7.
That was a very tight move from Maylen, very agile neck move to squeeze into that stagger. We didn't really have a good angle to see, but quite fast. She is a pocket rocket. She's a great paddler and incredibly dynamic, and yeah, qualified for another Olympics, so she's still got it, and she has a young daughter as well, so it's great to see her come back in between the games.
Elena Apple, she won the World Cup here in Prague in 2017, 4 years ago, right on the edge of her kayak. She spins back to the downstream stagger.
Yeah, so a bit conservative and getting caught into those stoppers, which that's where we've seen a lot of time losses in this semi-final. But I mean, apart from that, there aren't any major time losses. She has some very quick staggers up the top, and I think that could be enough to be competitive, but the sprint is deceptively long at the end, and it just seems to go on and on and on when you're paddling down there.
And your biceps are burning. You've done all of these hard upstream maneuvers, the breakouts, and still you've got to work for the line.
Oh, it's very, very hard. If the course wasn't hard enough, the final sprint is just the cherry on the cake.
So Miley Shaw completing from La Sartoria up near San Sebastian in the Basque Country, very far north reaches of Spain, close to the French border, showing, as you say, all of her upper body agility to avoid collisions.
If there's one paddler I'm excited to see, it's Kim Woods. They've kind of been not held in captivity, but not exposed to the world. So it's really cool to see the Brits come out and to be able to race at World Cups. And she's a very strong paddler. We can see that she's quite up on the split already and so dynamic and strong.
Yeah, awesome start. 7 more to drop, ladies and gentlemen. 25 years of age, heading to Tokyo for the British team for K1. 5 World Championship medals, 3 team golds for Great Britain. Kimberly Woods is away.
And a touch on 13, but despite that, I think she had the nicest 12 to 13 cross that we've seen so far. So still up on the split in the second half, and very strong. You can see she's very composed as well, and used that curl very nicely, and not getting caught on the in the stopper on the exit. So that's also the nicest part that we've seen so far in the semis. And wow, just in and out of gate 21.
Yeah, impressive, very smooth, but very precise, wasn't she? Lives very locally to Lee Valley Whitewater Centre. She won the C1 World Cup here in 2017.
So +4 penalties for Kimberly Woods, but I think that will be enough to make it into the final smoothly.
Yeah, super effort for Great Britain's Kimberly Woods, and into 3rd position with only 6 more to start. But what an exciting 6 they are. But she'll be right on the cusp.
Yeah, so I think it's great to see the Brits out here again, and to go smoothly into the final is exactly what Kimberly Woods will be hoping for in the lead up to Tokyo.
But now the extraordinary talent Anna Satilla is on course for Brazil. World rank number 12, the under-23 world champion 2 years ago, and the Pan American silver medal K1 winner, gold in C1 at the Pan Americans in 2015 in Toronto. I've loved watching her over the recent years. Naomi, she's a great talent for Brazil.
Yeah, she's a dynamic paddler, to say the least. I think she has a great style and a ferocious fighter as well, so she won't stop until she passes the finish line, and a great talent from Brazil.
And well up on the time. She won the World Cups last year in both Tassen in October and Po in November. They were C1 victories, however.
So I think she showed us her style. Apart from the touch on gate 13 on the exit, she is very composed when she needs to be, but then incredibly agile and ducks around the poles in a very great way. So, I mean, despite that touch, she's still very in touch with the split, only 0.38 seconds behind.
Anna Satilla started sport training at just 4 years of age. She qualified for London at 15, quite phenomenal.
Yeah, she was so young, and again, a touch on the exit, so she'll have to, you know, really work on that in the lead up to Tokyo. She'll do a lot of video review to see how she went on this race, but despite +4, we saw Kimberly Woods make it into the final, so it's really not over until you finish.
Yeah, she's already competed at London, 17th individually in the K1 in Rio de Janeiro as well, and Anna Satilla is gunning for the line, trying to catch it up. Oh, determination.
11th, yeah, so she'll be quite gutted about that, because those two touches could have been easily avoided, and apart from that, no major mistakes. So that means that Canoe-Kayak will be making it into the final for France.
The next drop. Natalia Patsyapnik is on course, 32 years of age, from Poland, double Olympian. London 2012, she was a very good 7th in the K1 and 11th in Rio, same class, this class.
Yeah, so far it's quite a smooth run, again opting for the direct, and no major mistakes so far, just very smooth, spacious, cautious, and a touch on that stagger, but again, penalties shouldn't, you know, they don't mean anything at this rate. It's just a very, two, however, will make it quite challenging. She had a very smooth use of the wave, but unfortunately didn't control her bow and hit that upstream.
1:04.05, still the quickest of Claudia Volinski, the pole, who heads the way here. Just 4 more to drop in this ladies kayak semi-final.
So with 2 penalties, she's still in touch with the time and could make the final. We saw Kimberly Woods with 2 penalties make the final, so it's not over until the end. We'll see how she controls this last stoppery move.
Natalia's father Robert was a Polish canoe slalom champion. Drzewiecka in Poland, her hometown, real traditional town for canoeing and kayaking, pushed her into the sports.
So we'll see, will it make it? 103, 104. Ranked 6th.
Oh, Poland going very nicely.
Just in. 2 Polish women in the final. She will be very, very relieved with that run, because there were a few mistakes, and to make it through, then you can only improve from there. So yeah, well done to the Polish women so far in this semi-final.
Just 4 more to come. Slovakia, Germany, Great Britain and Australia, as Alicia Mintalova is on course for Slovakia. Bronze in the under-23 European Championships on home water in Bratislava 2019. She was the Slovakian Wild Water Female Kayakist of the Year in the same year.
So just nipped gate 3 with a small touch, and going for the spin and hit it with her back. Didn't quite stay on the inside pole there. This is derailing a little bit from the Slovakian, which is a shame. She's such a powerful paddler, and she really showed us her skills in the first run of the qualifications. She can be so fast and dynamic, but just kind of getting offline, and as soon as you get offline on this course, it can just derail the whole run, and it gets very costly in time and energy.
3.66 seconds down. Sadly, she cuts back the breakout. I'm dyslexic, getting things muddled up here. Back to 16. I saw her this morning, Omi, taking a chunk of soil out of the riverbank just to put it on her hands for a bit of grip, which interested me. I watched her and thought, that's interesting.
Yeah, so a shame for the extra recircuit penalty again. So paddlers often do that to make sure that they have extra grip on their paddles, because it can be quite slippery, but also before a run, paddlers can also be quite pedantic and feel like it's too slippery, so you need a bit of extra dirt, or soap is also a great fix.
Soap actually helps.
Yeah, definitely.
Amazing.
So it's a shame for the Slovakian. I think she had you can see parts of the run where she's a great paddler and where she's incredibly strong. So looking forward to seeing her at the Olympic Games in Tokyo this year.
Yes, we have just now 3 more to come. Back end of the ladies kayak semi-final as Ricardo Funk gets underway. World rank number 3 from Augsburg in the deep south of Germany. She's been there since she was 19 years of age. She started kayaking at 8. And she was a double European champion at her very first attempt, 2014 in Vienna. She won again here in Prague, the Europeans of 2018.
Yeah, Ricardo just flies in the water. You can see how light and strong she is. She just manages to lift her boat off the water and fly through the gates. And so far she's had a smooth run, really knows how to control an unintentional spin and touch on that stagger gate 10. But can she hold it together and fix her mistakes and make it through into the final? A bit low into up 13.
I'm quite optimistic about her chances. Yes, one mistake, but she looks very confident and composed, the sort of overall impression.
Yeah, Ricardo she's not one to really compound errors. I think she moves on quite quickly and lets herself just, trust the process, let's say. So quite behind on the second split, but if she has a nice bottom half, and you can see there again, quite light into up 18.
Sorry, Naomi.
Not getting caught too much on the stopper into these staggers. Quite a good finish from Ricardo.
She had a World Championship silver 2015 individually, 2 individual bronzes as well, 2017 and 18.
She'll have to do quite a tough German sprint to the finish to make it into the final. But I think it might be enough. Just.
Yeah, it's going to be just enough, because we have now just 2 more to come in that 6th position. She'll be qualified.
Yeah, and it's also incredibly exciting to see the young Galiskova Czech in the final as well. So it will be a great final to watch later on today.
But now we welcome Great Britain's Mallory Franklin is away. She goes to Tokyo, will be her first Olympics for the C1 category. The new class that makes its debut.
Yeah, so Mallory will only be racing in C1, and I think both of the girls are quite upset they can't double up, because they're both great in those categories as well. They both double up, but Mallory's a very strong and composed paddler in both C1 and kayak, and so far she's on she was on a great run, but unfortunately just anticipated too much and missed those sets of staggers.
Yes, what a frustration for the world number 5 as she goes back upstream.
Very big shame for Mallory, because I think she could have done some great things in the final, but like I said before, if for the girls that double up, they can just use it as a practice run. Once they get to this stage, once they've kind of bombed out, you can just switch and focus directly on C1 in the middle of your run and just think, okay, well, this is going to be a practice run for my next category.
Yes, Mallory Franklin from Windsor in Berkshire. She's very tall at 179. She'll be the tallest athlete heading to the Olympics for the canoe slalom for the ladies.
Exact. Yeah, she's a very tall paddler, and I think, like I said before, sometimes you get some short and long paddlers, and here she's kind of letting herself just float down, really.
Yeah, I mean, she got absolutely caught broadside of her temple by the wave there, just literally upended her.
Yeah. Lost her edge, and I think if she was in a fighting spirit, she could have held it, but, you know, at this stage, she knew there was no hope, and it would be a waste of energy maybe to fight until the end.
But in a way, I could imagine, yes, frustrating now, but in a week or two, she'll look back and it will probably just galvanise her and make her even more focused on the Olympics.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't really a category that she'll be focusing on anyway, just being in the C1, unlike Jess Fox, who will be racing in kayak and C1 this year, so this is quite important for her, let's say.
Yes, we welcome world #1 in both canoe and kayak. Jess Fox is on course.
So we can see a touch on gate 3. We've had a few touches and quite a niggly start. Didn't quite have the entry into the upstream that she would have liked. We'll see how she sets herself up. Another touch and quite offline, let's say. But we know that +4 isn't the end, and quite low as well into gate 13. So come on, Jess, you can finish it off nicely like she knows how to do.
Best paddler in the history of the World Championships, taking the K1 title 2014, 17 and 18. Looking for the Tokyo Olympic gold, Naomi, that so far has eluded her, but that, of course, is in the offing.
I mean, I think she, one of her greatest strengths is that she doesn't go into races thinking I'm going to win. She goes into races thinking that she's just going to unleash and do what she knows how to do, and often that kind of leads her into her first position.
Yeah, frees her mind. She's not sort of paralysed by expectation.
Getting caught into that up left as well, you can see that she did a brace stroke to get caught into that eddy and accumulate time. So +4 plus a few errors down the bottom. This is going to be quite a tough sprint for Jess to make it into the final, but I think it might be enough, and she will be incredibly relieved to make it through with a run like that.
Yeah, so Jess Fox comes home, celebrated her birthday, 27 years of age yesterday, and 3rd position.
So when you finish a run like that, where you've just been battling and fighting the whole time, you've just got to think, okay, well, I made it through, and the final is a new blank page, and I could only improve from here.
Well, we have certainly seen it all this morning here on the Vltava River. It's been ultra demanding and a real fight for everybody. Nobody's really smooth through to the finals.
I mean, apart from Elena, I think she had the smoothest run that we saw, and she went off early and held it together until the end to get her place into the finals. So it was a battle from start to finish for all those girls today.
A recap of some of the highlights. Elena Apple came very early, and as we say, best of the mornings work on this powerful river for the young German. Russia will come back. Katerina Perova was impressive. Again, early starts, not that it made any sort of difference in the way the competition unfolded. So this is the final position, and these are the 10 that will come back for the ladies' finals this morning here. First of the World Cups for 2021, Claudia Volinski, quickest down, despite those 2 mistakes. The only had 2 of the top 10, Naomi, that had fault-free runs.
Yeah, so it was quite a messy semi-final, but I think all of those girls will be very relieved to have made it through. And like I said before, now it's a blank page to see who can really deliver their skills and show off what they're made of. And I think it will be a very exciting run, because anything can happen really on this course.
And Naomi, thank you very much for your input, and we'll look forward to joining you back.
I'm sorry for jinxing a few paddlers. I got a few messages saying, stop, you're jinxing them.
No. Thank you for your input, and we'll look forward to seeing you back for the finals, for the ladies.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So, short break here, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back in just a couple of minutes. 10:05 is the start time for the men's semi-finals here. And, well, what a battle is going to ensue. Already the heats were action-packed, and they are all looking for, again, like the ladies, the 10 best runs of the semi-finals down this powerful river. Just a reminder of the boat dimensions: 3 meters and 50 in length, 60 centimeters is the minimum width. And we are in the double-bladed kayaks this morning. Canoes will be coming tomorrow. That's the single-bladed kneeling position for the canoeists. And we'll be back with you in just a moment for the men's semis.
Welcome back on the course, because we are getting ready for the category K1 men. 48 kayakers from qualification, and right now we are fighting about 10 places. The 10 places for the final of this category. Starting number 23 is from Sweden, Eva Tercelj. 17 medalists from World Championship 2019 from Olympic course, and right now on the course for
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the men's semi-finals. Superb first World Cup of the year here, 2021 in Prague. Delighted to have Georgina Collins alongside me. Georgina, well, we saw a lot of events, shall we say, in the ladies. It's a really demanding course. What's your overall impression of the track?
Yeah, it looks super tough. A lot of the girls who ended up in the final had a lot of penalties as well. I think I heard that only one of the girls went clean, so might be one of the tricks in the men's to make it through.
Yes, we are underway, and it's the Swede getting us started here. First of the men to drop, and it's a very good start, encouraging start here.
He looks like he's had a pretty smooth run. I think they
places for Tokyo have been allocated, but both Sweden and the Americans both going to decide their picks for the Olympics after the World Cup here in Prague. And the second to come is Christopher Bowers from Great Britain, hails from Stoke-on-Trent, initially up in the north of England. His favourite course is Lee Valley, the great world and Olympic venue from 2012. He's a keen climber when he's not in the kayak, and he's off to a deft start here through the first upstream gate. Very nicely, Georgina at 3.
He did that super smooth. Going for the direct here. He's done that really nicely, swept around the pole.
So, very quick is the Brit, Christopher Bowers. Just the one touch at the upstream gate at 16. This is a very hard part of the course here, Georgina. 17 to 21, 2 upstream gates within those 5 gates. It's just basically wall to wall of difficulty.
Yeah, it's really tight in this section, and the water's not moving that fast through there as well, so I'd say at the end of the course it's super hard to pull through there. But he looks like he's put together a really nice run. It's a shame about this late touch.
Just going to be behind the Swedish time of Isak Ostrom, who led the way down the men's kayak semi-finals. 3/4. Crean out in Brazil, and Sweden will come again. Eric Holmer is up in the starts, 26 years of age, splits his time between nice shopping in Sweden and here actually in Prague is his training base. Started paddling at 13 years of age, and a very good K1 bronze, the under-23 world champs in Ivrea in 2018, and it's a sharp start.
Yeah, he's done all this really well.
And he's actually getting backwards there to the downstream current. That is how demanding this water is.
That wave changes a lot, so it's pretty tough to do it consistently. So yeah, sometimes the wave is a stopper and sometimes it's a wave, so you'll see sometimes the athletes will really have to work hard to get back across to the upstream. But he's looking comfortable and clean.
Both of the 2 for Sweden coming very early in this men's kayak semi-final. As Eric Holmer now down to this real sort of sting in the tail of the Prague World Cup course here at Vltava. By this stage, Georgina, the biceps and your triceps, I guess you're getting pretty tight.
Yeah, I'd say his whole body is lactic right now.
Yeah, because we can't see, of course, the legs under the spray deck. There's a lot of work going on, a bit like the swan underneath the water surface.
Yeah, it's whole body. And he's just behind.
Yeah, 1.26 seconds down, but the men already, we're seeing a very tight pattern, the male paddlers, as opposed to the ladies, who's a little bit more sort of spread apart, the ladies.
Yeah, the racing in Prague is usually pretty tight because it's not a big course, but it's quite technical. So yeah, usually you see in the semi-final to get into the final, the men are within seconds of each other.
And the steely-eyed look of the man going to Tokyo for the British team. He picked Joe Clark to the K1 spot, and Bradley Forbes Crean is on course, world team champion. As we mentioned earlier, 2018, he's 26 years of age, from Edinburgh up in Scotland. He rode there, he paddled there for the CR Cats Canoe Club in Alva. Whitewater Club.
He's had to work really hard in this stagger, but he's picked up a touch.
He's having a bit of a mare at the start. But we saw in the ladies, Georgina, that if things start to go wrong, that it's very hard on this course to keep things sort of going at all smoothly.
Yeah, it's a pretty hard course, so I think if you make like one little mistake, you can definitely pull it back and you can definitely absorb a touch and still make it through to the final, because it is a really tough course.
Is it the kind of course that if you sort of lose your line, that you then get sort of blown right off course, or, I mean, can you keep it sort of on track?
Yeah, that stagger definitely looks a bit tight. Wouldn't want to float out in it.
So, Bradley Forbes Crean coming down towards the finish. And he's going to be actually only 0.3 of a second adrift, despite the one blemish, the upstream gate at 13. This was the moment for the Tokyo Olympian.
Yeah, he's got a really fast time. It's a shame about the touch. But you see he really flicked himself back up into the upstream here. And
just turned too tight there.
Yeah.
The next to come. Zan Yanks is away for Slovenia, 25 years of age. He lives and trains in Tassen in Slovenia, the home of the World Cup.
And he's just picked up a touch on the first upstream.
Yeah, the first of our 6 upstream gates at 3. He studied to become an engineer of mechatronics. It was a new degree to me, but sounds very high tech.
I haven't heard of it.
Had a bronze medal in the K1 team event at the 2017 ICF, the International Canoe Federation's Canoe Slalom World Champs in Pau, in the Pyrenees in France. And these Eastern European nations, so strong. Slovenia, the Czech, Slovakia, they're all amazing paddlers.
The Slovenians have a really strong team. We'll see Peter Kauza going off one of the last, I would think.
Yeah, he comes 7 from the end.
Yeah.
And a man that leaves you in goosebumps watching.
Yeah. And John's just picked up another touch and he's a bit stuck in the stopper, but still going.
And he's starting to breathe heavily here. This is the demands of this Vltava river. It's so choppy. 3.6 meters is the drop from start to finish. And this flat water paddle to the line here is again really demanding when you've already sort of given your all.
Yeah, it's a really long sprint to the finish.
So Zan Yanks is going to come home 4.89 seconds down on Christopher Bowers, is the Brit that leads his time.
And Isaac's been given a 50.
Okay. Yeah, the judges have obviously looked at a video review.
I didn't see him getting close to any of the poles, so it's a shame for him. We'll see if he protests it.
Just tell us a little bit about that protest process there, Georgina. You've got a little window of opportunity.
So after your run, you have a few minutes to check the results, and you can protest if you think that the judges have given you a touch that you didn't get or a 50 that you didn't get. So it's good for the athletes to have the opportunity to challenge anything that the judges have called. Sometimes it comes off, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, sadly, early blemish, but an otherwise very good start here. Matthias Sudi is on course for Morocco. He's a young gun, just 21 years of age, but phenomenal. He goes to Tokyo. He was second in the K1 at the World Ranking Pyrenees Cup at Liceo de Gaulle. And that qualified him, along with Celia Yoda, the other from Morocco, that will go to the Games. Oi, oi, oi.
It's a really sticky eddy in there, and he's just lost his edge and has come in too high. It was looking like a really solid run until then.
They've had a couple capsize, one in the ladies' semis, and now Matthias Sudi, sadly, upturned in the men's.
It's a very tight move because you want to get across from the down on the left into the upright, and the next down is quite close.
But he's going to make history going to Tokyo, because it's the first time that Morocco have had 2 athletes in the canoe slalom in the history of the Olympics, so that's a big deal. Canoe slalom really booming as a sport. 35 nations are entered for the Kasai course in Tokyo, up on 30 from both London and Rio, so the sport is really booming. And 3 nations will have their Olympic debut in Tokyo. That is Mexico, Chinese Taipei and Hungary, so the sport really developing rapidly.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, it's really awesome to see how slalom develops year to year. Like, you go back and you watch videos of athletes from 2017, and you know the differences between the top athletes get smaller and smaller, and the boat designs are always evolving.
Martin Hausen is on course now for Slovakia. He's been competing internationally since 2008. He won a silver, the K1 team event at the London, the Lee Valley Whitewater Centre. That was in 2015. It's a pretty decent start here for the Slovakian.
Yeah, he had to paddle hard to get back up to that upstream, but he's keeping the boat moving,
and already you can see the effort. I mean, it's just shunting muscle, isn't he, against this white water.
He's done that nicely.
I mean, I've never canoed or kayaked at any sort of competitive level, but I know I can feel the demands when I was a kid in a canoe. Just keeping a balance is one thing, and then I guess you add the white water, you add the precision of touching a gate or not, and it all gets very both kind of powerfully demanding and technical at the same time, which for me is one of the sport's really unique features.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty amazing sport in that, you know, every session's different, every race is different, and you need to think as well as pull. It's not a 100-meter sprint where you just turn your brain off and you go. Like, you really need to be engaged the whole time, trust your reflexes.
And I live in Austria, Georgina, so I'm planning to buy a kayak actually and get started myself. I saw there's a kayak marathon, and I'm interested, so I'm going to get buying when I get home.
Get straight into a marathon.
Well, yeah, I mean, eventually. So Antoine Laune is our new starter for Portugal. He's based in Toulouse in the south of France. He's 27 years of age. Started paddling at 6, and he again heads for Tokyo. He was very good, 13th in the K1 at the Europeans in Ivrea, down in the Piedmont region of Italy. It's a good start, very good start.
It was great. You just saw him chuck his head back there to get it in the poles. This was nice. Getting a little bit stuck in.
Also, Antoine was super at the Liceu d'Urgell World Championships in Spain, the Catalan mountains of northern Spain, 2019. That was 7th in the K1 class. He's lost a little bit here. Half a second shift for the Portuguese paddler.
Yeah, but I think he's done this really well, and you can pick up a lot of time in this stagger. Oh, he's just sunk his tail. Oh, and he's a bit sticky coming into this upstream, but it still looks like a super solid run, and you can see the arms look like they're burning a bit.
Yes, Antoine Laune after that very promising start is coming home, chasing
like
down Christopher Bowers.
Might go into the lead.
Close enough, 0.69 of a second deficit. Antoine Laune for Portugal has gone into 4th position. If you're just joining us, a very good morning. Welcome to the first World Cup of the 2021 season. 4 World Cup fixtures this year. We go to Markkleeberg in Germany next week. Then the break for the big event in the Far East, the Tokyo Olympics. And then we'll have the Liceu d'Urgell World Cup fixture. And then the finals coming in Pau in late September in the Pyrenees in France. Now, America's young gun. This is an exciting talent away.
I think this is their Olympic selections. He's been improving so much the last few years. It's really cool to watch. He's super aggressive on the water.
Joshua Joseph is on course 20 only from Washington, D.C. for the Potomac Whitewater Racing Center. He was the quickest in the heats last year in the Tassin World Cup in October, Georgina, as was Evie Lee Parth back in Tassin in October. So he's an exciting, dynamic paddler again.
4.5 seconds down on the split.
Yeah, it's going to take a titanic effort in the second half to catch up. It's basically looking out of reach for Joshua Joseph. 18 as well.
Picked up another touch. But I think he'll just be really happy to be in the semi-final. He's super young, and he's got a solid decade left of paddling in him.
Well, yeah, I mean, he'll be thinking about Paris 2024, and he'll be thinking very firmly about Los Angeles 28.
Yeah,
that'll be on this young man's mind. Grits his teeth, and Joshua Joseph comes home. For home, well, actually. 4.17 seconds down with those 4 seconds to add. just got too much pectoral mass there. I mean, he's just got a huge chest and he couldn't get the clearance. I mean, it's only 20 centimetres, isn't it, between bottom of gate and water surface?
Yeah, it changes a bit with the water. Sometimes 20, sometimes 10. Depends what water you get.
Yeah.
Sometimes 30.
Well, I read that in the 70s that back then the gates actually were up against the water, so you had to go a lot straighter. These days with the little break between gate and water, you can angle. Pedro Gonzalez is on course now.
He's picked up an early touch. It's not come up yet.
Had a bronze in the Extreme K1 event at the World Champs here in Prague in 2019.
Another touch. He's coached by Vavrup Fradelk, and we can see that he's paddling Vavrup's boat. He's made a change in the last few weeks. He's based in Prague at the moment, preparing for Tokyo.
He won that Tassen World Cup in Extreme K1 October last year. He was here in the Extreme K1 in Prague 2 years ago for third as well. He was third in that K1 cross in 2016 as well. He's in trouble.
Yeah. He's getting surfed a little bit.
It's a hard course to watch because a lot of, very competitive paddlers are having problems this morning.
It looks like a really tough course, and having a really technical hard move at the end when you're already really tired, it looks, super tough. And you're starting and you've got to conserve some energy all throughout the top of the course so that you can still execute that bottom move.
Yeah, the course designers are giving you a little break between 16, the upstream gate, and then when the problems really start 17, 21, there's a little break as if to say, right now, it's going to come all at you. And it does. And it's at the end of the course, so it's brutal.
Yeah.
Now, the young Swiss paddler, Galindo Ciarello, is on course, 23 years of age only. He started canoeing in 2007 at the age of 10. He was 10th in the under-23 Europeans in Hohenlimburg in Germany. Was in, not sure actually when that was, but a little time ago.
He's just had to back paddle and duck for that one. Looks like he got his head in, which is great. He's having to work to get back across for 8.
Galindo Ciarello is really fighting, but it is paying
only
off.
1 second
It's a
down.
good competitive start for the young Swiss kayaker. Now, 13 is the third of the 6 upstream gates. He was a bit static there, but such is the current he's fighting against.
Yeah, he still did a really good job of keeping the speed on the boat, I think.
Hey, I'm not criticising Georgie. I know to look at the paddler's helmet, and if it gets a little bit static, they're just losing a moment of time.
It's gone a little bit low.
But athletic to dodge out of the way of 19.
He's been really tactile in these downs.
He's through the demanding end section. Still a clean run for Galindo Ciarello.
That's true, a clean run.
Been few and far between this morning here in Prague. And he's not a million miles away here.
Goes into 5th.
It's
Doesn't
a good
look
round.
happy.
No, 1.83 seconds. He thought it was a really aggressive, dynamic run from the young Swiss kayaker. But 5th, and we still have now the bulk of the field to come. Another 20 or so as Benjamin Renia gets underway. He was at the Europeans in Ivrea this year, 43rd in the individual K1 class. He was 2nd in Po in the K1 Extreme Canoe Slalom last year. And he was 11th in the World Cup in Slovenia at Tassen. That was 5 years ago, though, in 2016. He's a powerful, exciting paddler.
He's come into 8 super tight, just ducked off it and straight out. Looked really fast.
Half a second deficit only. Christopher Bowers was the 2nd down for Great Britain. Benjamin Renia, the 12th of the 40 men to drop in the semi-finals.
He's just touched the inside pole of the upstream with his nose. So he's got a 2-second penalty, but it seems most of the athletes have picked up penalties, and it's the type of course that I think you could probably absorb the 2 seconds on. He's
Exactly.
2.5 seconds down on the split now.
It's always going to make for an exciting end to their run when they've had an early penalty and they know they've got to chase time up. Benjamin Renier down this demanding section.
That looked like another little touch. You can see he's really pulling hard. Now the long sprint to the finish.
Yeah, no spectators here, sadly, but the French supporters we can hear outside our commentary box cheering him home. Only 0.47 of a second. He's very happy with that.
Yeah.
Into 4th position. Matthias Vega is our new starter. A young gun for Austria, 25 years of age. And he's just returned from Pakistan, was out on the mighty Indus River. Saw his videos out there, extraordinary what he does when he's not in competition or in training. I guess it keeps him fit, but a totally different dimension of the sport here. And he's off to a troublesome start, very troublesome.
Yeah, he's having a really hard time. And you can see he's picked up a 50-second penalty on gate 10, which will put him out of the final. But he's still pulling hard and he's finishing off the run, which is really great to see.
In terms of predictability, what is the difference between an artificial course and a natural course, Georgina, in terms of the water flow?
I think artificial courses fluctuate a little bit less, and I think that's kind of a design choice so that it's more fair to race on. But yeah, you see like a lot of paddlers who do big water paddling look so comfortable on the big water, and they're very adaptable.
So Matthias Vega, I'm afraid, has got an absolute cluster of penalties there. The 50s you can see for the miss gates entirely. You've got to have your head and part of the boat through simultaneously of the gate to not incur a penalty. It is the basically kosh on the run. If you have a 50, that is a totally game over.
Yeah.
And the 2-second rule, Georgine, just for our viewers who are new to the sport, was adapted at Sydney and at home in 2000 for you. That was a 5-second penalty previously, and 2 seconds was the 2000 Olympic amendment.
Yeah, it's interesting how the sport's evolved over the years.
So Martin Duguid is on course for Switzerland, 30 years of age, from Geneva, the southwest of Switzerland. He trains in Po, so he lives away from home. His best run was here actually in Prague at the Europeans. That was last year, team bronze, 6th individually. And it's a very good start here for the young Swiss kayaker. Very good, 0.21 down only.
He's a very smooth paddler. Like, you see he's just come a little bit low here. Commentators curse.
No, there's no such thing. We've got to talk. We're paid to talk, Georgina. We can't say nothing. Of course we'll curse some. And he's dropped a bit off here, 1.25
only. He's kept
only.
off the pole really nicely there, though.
So perhaps playing a little bit safe, a bit wider the lines for the Swiss kayaker, but just avoiding any penalties. No.
He's avoided the touch really well.
He's absolutely static.
He's doing a really good job to keep off the poles. He's been super tight in and out. It was a really nice upstream. Now just the finish, stagger and sprint.
But a real a sort of variability, because at the start he was going quite wide, and then in the middle of the course he was turning very, very tight, very slowly. So a real sort of mixture of styles for the Swiss kayaker. It's paid off. Well, he screams, but it's only half a second down.
Yeah, I think he's he's disappointed with that up. He did lose a good bit of time there, and he's still got a really nice time.
The 15th of the 40 to drop in this men's kayak semi-final. First World Cup of the season. Marcelo Beda is away for Italy. 26 years of age, and it's a very good start. He had a K1 team silver at the under-23 World Champs at home in Ivrea in 2018 up in the north of Italy. Great location on the Dora Baltea that runs down from Mont Blanc down through the Aosta Valley to Piedmont.
He's just picked up an early touch on 6 with his nose, and he's ducking and diving off these poles. Looks super tactile through here.
Yeah, it's seriously electric from Marcelo Beda as he really cut across the line there back through that breakout maneuver.
He's done that upstream really nicely. But he's further down on the split.
Yeah, lost a lot of time there, and I must say I didn't quite detect what it was in that section that lost him the advantage.
Yeah, he just lost his nose a bit before the stop and move, but he's done this super nicely. Here too. Oh, and this is great, in and out.
He's a great paddler to watch. He seems to at times be electric and at other times be very smooth and flowing.
He looks very under control.
Marcelo Beda charging for the line. He's going to be close to Christopher Bowers' time.
Oh.
Well, 2 back-to-back that have gone within about a half a second of the British leading time. And I think he thinks he's let a chance slip there, judging by his reaction.
Yeah, especially in the men's when the margins are so small, I think a touch will really cost a lot.
Now Martin Duguid, we see, having a review with judges. The ICF chief judge there are our judges Ivnet Kovar, Lena Kuta and Bruno Longa. Video reviews, should the need require. The new starter is such a talent for Slovakia, 24 years of age. Jakob Grigar is away. This is his favourite course. The double under-23 world champion is another huge talent for Slovak kayaking. Production line it is from Slovakia. His debut Olympics was in Rio. He was a brilliant 5th individually, and already we're seeing his glittering talents on display.
He's a super exciting paddler to watch. And this is a really nice upstream. This should take the lead, and he's clean.
Yeah, this is beautiful from Jakob Grigar from Liptovsky Mikuláš, the Slovakian whitewater kayaking hub. It's a great run. Finally, we see some clean water.
Yeah, almost 4 seconds into the lead. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's really laid down a run there to say to the, the remaining 2/3 of the semi-final, right, you better go out and fight.
Yeah.
Jakob Grigar, he's coached by Tomáš Mraz for the last 7 years, and the Slovakian, very exciting talent, one of the strongest nations in kayaking history, leads away. Early days here in Prague, as Matthias Vega is the new starter.
He's been super tight in that first upstream. That looked very fast.
Things certainly starting to ramp up in excitement here at the Prague Whitewater Centre. He's ducking and weaving like a boxer.
He's just fallen off the wave a little bit, but he's done such a good job at keeping the speed on the boat.
Wow, 1500ths only between him and Jakob Grigar, first split. Wow, it's a super cut through. 12 back to 13.
Very tight.
Silky slick from the man from Epinal in France. It's up in the northeast of France, due south of Nancy, but he trains down in Pau. Look at that time.
It was a very tight upstream.
It's his first World Cup here in Prague. He won at Liptovsky Mikuláš back in 2015, the K1 World Cup. And part of the French gold at the Deep Creek Lake World Championships in 2014, and this is really good still. The French are whistling Georgina down below. They smell Slovakian blood in the air. Oh, not quite.
Super close.
Really good. 0.7 of a second, only 2 electrifying runs here back to back.
Yeah.
Matteo Biazizo going into second. Good stuff. The men is certainly now starting to bubble up and boil nicely. Just under halfway, 18th of the 40. Halfway point is looming as Nikita Gubenko is away now for Russia. Fast starts. I sat opposite him at breakfast. I can tell you he had a big omelette and some cereal, so I know he's had his calories.
Yeah, he's been given a lot of space around the poles, and he looks really nice. And he's touched. I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
This man was...
2 touches in a row.
Yeah, he's having a tough start. He won the silver in the Extreme K1 of the 2019 World Championships, Extreme World Champs in Prague, this very venue. So again, another reminder, he's familiar with the Vltava River, but still, 4 seconds he's got to add as he's at the halfway point.
5 seconds down on the split. But we've seen that you can make up a lot of time if you get this last move under the bridge smooth.
A real shame with those 4 seconds to add, because he would only be 1.4 or so seconds down on the likes of Jakob Grigar and Matthias
really nice
Biazizo. Just struggling to retain balance of the boat, and then the penalty comes. Just lost balance down the stopper there.
Yeah, the athletes will be aiming to get up on top of that stopper so that they can keep their nose free and they can get themselves round for that upstream. And he just ended up a little bit inside it, and he really had to work to get around the upstream poles.
Yeah, real shame for Nikita Gubenko. Problems coming home, and the Russian challenge falters late on. 1:58.03 is his final time. Just shows again the demands of this Vltava River. The Czech national river, 430 kilometers it runs. 31k of those are in Prague itself, bisects the capital city. Martin Strabotnik is underway now for Slovenia, 27 years of age. Had a bronze in the K1 team event at the Pau World Champs of 2017.
He looks like he just tripped on his paddle a little bit, and he had to do a last-minute spin, but he's keeping really nice speed on the boat, and it looks like he's really putting it behind him.
It just shows how good Jakob Grigar was, because he hasn't done a lot wrong in the first section, and he's still 2.47 seconds down.
Really nice in and out of that up. He's done that super nice.
And we know that weight to power ratio is crucial for kayaking, and he's got a huge upper body. He's clearly done a lot of work, not only in the boat, but in the gym as well.
Oh no, just picked up a touch on the second last gate.
Yeah, real shame. I mean, that caught out and Nikita Gubenko as well, the Russian, late on. I think I can only imagine because of the lactic. Again, you're getting tired, you're getting a little bit confused at that point because it's not difficult, that final sort of little run to home there, Georgina, but caught out back-to-back competitors.
Yeah, I guess maybe you're thinking about the finish line. You're already thinking about your sprint before you. But there's a curl on that gate, and it's changing a lot, and it can sometimes be a bit pushier than you expect.
But now a man you will know well, Lucien Del Four is on course, 32 years of age, world rank number 5, and at the Rio Olympics 17th in the K1 category. He goes to Tokyo for the Aussies, having won gold at the 2020 Oceania Canoe Slalom Championships.
Yeah, he's paddling his new boat design at this race. I think it's his first international race with it. And,
it's working well.
Yeah.
Very well.
Just a second down on the first split.
Lucien, former student of industrial engineering. He's represented Australia since 2010. He moved out there in that year. Currently training at the Penrith Whitewater base, the Sydney 2000 Olympic venue.
It was a very nice upstream.
Yeah, still only 1.27 seconds. He's holding that time gap to Jakob Grigar, but can't get his chin clear of 18. Oh, it's a great view there, close up on his eyes as he's just beadily watching the gate vertical.
Yeah.
This is bang on the halfway point. Lucien Del Four, a lot to like from the Australian, but those 4 seconds are costly.
Very.
His 3.64 seconds only his disadvantage. God, tiny fractions, just the chin strap of his helmet there, catching 18. Another one of the young guns getting underway. Noah Hegger is the next to drop, 22 years of age. He was at the under-23 European champs in 2020 last year, was a very good 5th individually in this K1 category. And he won the junior European K1 team title in Solkan, Slovenia in 2016 as well. Very talented, and he's off to a powerful start.
Yeah, he's managed this wave really nicely. He's super tight on that first downstream, so he's set up really nicely for the second one.
Yeah, battle is on here between the young guns of Slovakia and Germany, within about half a second of Jakob Grigar, cutting back through 13, the third of the upstream gates this morning. Beautiful, 360, just used that stopper so well, got the boat upended. And he's catching time here, Georgina.
Yeah, he's done this great. Oh, a little bit sticky, but we'll see how he goes with this. Stays off the pot.
No, I think he just got a late touch, didn't he?
Yeah, just nicked it.
It's a very good run from Noah Hegger.
Yeah, I think he'll be really happy to have put this down. You see his bid number is 39, so I think, yeah, he'll be happy to be up there with the top guys.
It was a very precise run, wasn't it? He really was deft at the start, and that unlucky late mistake.
Yeah, he just lost it a bit on that finish.
But again, great to see the young talent coming out fearlessly, tackling this brutal Vltava River course this morning. Mikhail Patsyapnik is our new starter. The kayaker for Poland has been competing internationally since 2008. He had 2 team K1 medals. The world champs in 2018 was a silver, bronze last year in 2 years ago in Gelb. It's a good start.
He's done a really good job to keep that together. It looked like he might have touched his tail on the bottom, but he's handled it really well. A second down on the split. It's come a bit low into this upstream.
Yeah, pays the price, just losing his line slightly and having to paddle against the current.
Yeah.
Tiring and not cost effective on time either.
Yeah, using up some of the precious energy.
But time's still good though.
He's picked up
Within
time.
a second, amazingly. I'm surprised with that extra distance he had to cut back to that upstream gate.
This was a really nice cross. You saw him just wait on that left blade and put it in at the right spot. Here as well, he's come wide around the poles and given a lot of space, but he's kept the boat moving and it looked really nice.
Yes, some superb drone footage from our great TV crew here in Prague, down to that tricky sting in the tail of the Canoe Slalom World Cup. It's a very good run for Mikhail Smolder.
Into third.
Yeah, good job.
With a clean run.
Yeah, 3.5 seconds down. He just shakes his head as if to say that line, the upstream gate. I mean, what would that have cost him in time? Second and a half, 2 seconds maybe?
Yeah, something like that. Nice shot of the swans.
Yes, and away goes Finn Butcher now for New Zealand, 26 years of age, from Alexandra, the central south region of the South Island of New Zealand. He's coached by Aaron Osborne. He's a keen skier as well, and he's very happy to have been the New Zealand national champion in 2013. It's a good start here from Finn Butcher. He's not going to Tokyo, so another one who's wanting to say a bit of a waft of 2 fingers at these selectors.
Yeah, he's been really tight on the poles and keeping his boat moving down just by a second. He's also come a little bit low in 13, but he's picked up a touch in 12. But he's looking really controlled and focused. Super cool that the New Zealanders and the Australians have been able to come over this year with all the travel restrictions.
Finn Butcher, he was third at the Oceania Canoe Slalom Champs last year, behind Lucien Del Four, we saw earlier, and also behind Mikhail Smolder, the American. Now through this demanding late passage of gates.
Yeah, and he's just sprinting to that finish. Going into 15th. Kicking himself for that touch, maybe.
Yeah, gritty from Finn Butcher in this fierce battle this morning for the Prague World Cup leg, first of 2021. The battle is only going to intensify now because we're just over halfway, and the 24th of the 40 to drop in this semi-finals is a man heading for Tokyo. He will join Mylen Choro and Elosegi Nuria Villarubla, and David Lorente is on the course. Went superbly 2 years ago, the world champs in Liceo, individual K1 silver and gold in the K1 team. This is his favourite course as well. He's only 24, Georgina, and it is a brilliant start. Look at the skills from the Spaniard.
Up by half a second, it's awesome.
Hails from Segovia, started paddling on a summer camp there, but he's been based in Liceo since 2012. Pending decision at 9, so the judges are reviewing the footage, but look at the time.
Another 0.2.
He's gained another quarter of a second of Jakob Grigar in the midsection.
Oh, and he's just come up a bit high, but this looks great.
It's been so powerful. I mean, he's almost taken the sort of power out of the river, hasn't he? We haven't seen the problems the others have faced.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
Look at the run for David Lorente. This will send him to Tokyo with bags of confidence. There's a pending decision, and he's going to be just down, but brilliant run for third position.
Yeah.
Just under a second down. Jakob Grigar hangs on, and a very happy Spaniard. We'll look again at his video footage. That was a cool run to watch. I mean, he just nailed it.
Looks like he goes through the middle of the gate, but they'll be reviewing it on video and...
Number 15, that's 4, was edging himself while trying to push himself into gate number 9. And according to this weekend,
we stay with Spain after that electrifying run from David Lorente. Pau Etchenis is on the course, 20 years of age only. He was a very good fifth in the K1 at the World Championships for Juniors 2019 in Krakow in the south of Poland. And it's a bit of a blemish start for Pau, sadly.
He's a really nice paddler to watch, and he's still super young, so I think he'll just be happy to be in it.
Beautifully through that upstream breakout maneuver. That's 21 off the big stopper, downstream into this final section. Quite incredible to see the waves just crashing over. And I love the shark face on the front of his kayak.
Yeah, they're very cool boats there.
That's very cool. So not his run, but as we say, just 20, and no doubt very happy to be at the World Cup here in the Czech Republic. Well, we mentioned those Oceania Championships a moment ago with Finn Butcher in third, and we said that he was behind Mikhail Smolder, and Mikhail getting underway, 27 years of age. He hails from Krakow in the south of Poland. Rio Olympian, he was 12th in the K1 division in Rio last time. Very deft spin, beautiful.
Killed the first upstream. It was
awesome, yeah. Just spun on a sixpence.
Yeah. He's looking really smooth through this first stagger as well. Gets the wave across.
His first international win, the under-23 world title, came at home. The home of the Sydney Olympics, Penrith in 2014. Just 0.47 down.
Oh, he's done that. Awesome. We'll see the next split. Yeah.
Whoa, look at this.
Oh no, but they're giving him a touch.
0.98 of a second up, and suddenly that lead is wiped out instantaneously.
Yeah, I think the touches are super costly, especially on Prague.
His father, Rafael, was a Polish international canoe slalomer. His mother, Agnieszka, played handball for the Polish national team. He comes from a distinguished sporting family, which always helps. Got through 24, that sort of late sting in the toe, which has caught out a few on the home journey. It's a great start, great finish from Mikhail Smolder after a great start, just a few problems midway there.
Yeah, he was a bit sticky into the last upstream, and yeah, I didn't see a touch on 11, but I'm sure they'll be reviewing it. And
we are into the last 13 to come. The men's kayak semi-finals reaching a crescendo, and the battle really starting to bubble up here on the Vltava. It's getting exciting as now the German national champion, he won in Magdeburg last year, Tim Maxiner, hails from Wiesbaden in Germany. He's 35 years of age, world champs in Liceo 2019. He was 30th in the K1 class 2 years ago, and it is a good start Very good start. That's catchable, upable.
Yeah. Just 0.7 down on the first split, and he's kept his nose up into this upstream and kept good speed coming out.
But a little bit wide, maybe. Just my thinking, he could have lost a second. No, rubbish.
Picked up
0.57
0.2
now. He's gaining time.
We've seen a lot of the athletes have picked up time in that middle, but they've lost it at the bottom. So it's possible that Jakob was really great on that bottom section.
Just struggling. He cut too tight into 18 and he couldn't quite get his shoulder round the upstream gates. That is frustrating.
And sticky again into this up.
And not a mistake I don't think you see particularly often in canoe slalom, when you sort of, you turn too tight. Normally...
Yeah, I mean, it's a very strong eddy. And he's touched 24 as well.
Yeah, so not so much they cut the line wrong, but more that the currents just sort of made it impossible for him to turn as he thought he could, basically.
Yeah, I guess I'd say so. Yeah, you see how the water's pushing up through there, and it's changing a little bit in that eddy as well.
And as we say, ideally the eddies should be upstream water. The course designers sometimes will have a downstream current running through them as well. And these are all of the dynamic variables that you guys must face day to day. But that's the fun of it.
Ooh, and another one who's nailed the first upstream. We saw a lot of penalties on the first upstream from the K1 women, but the men have all been really off the poles. And
Pavel Igel is on course for Russia, 31 years of age. He began paddling in Moscow at 10, got into the sport seriously at 16, and 1100s up on Jakob Grigar. Team bronze for the K1s, the world champs in Rio in 2018. Quite a long paddle back there to 13. We've seen that's been a recurrent theme.
Yeah, the stopper's super sticky at the moment. And it's really hard to get it just right and very easy to come low or high.
1 3/4 seconds down on Jakob Grigar for Pavel Igel, junior European champion in Solkan, Slovenia in 2008.
Just doing a back off there to get through. He's in that finish sprint. Yeah, he'll be a bit disappointed with that. It's a shame about the penalties, because at the beginning he had a really good top section.
Yeah, then we just saw such a long paddle for home for Pavel Igel. And when spirits are a little bit demoralised after a few taps and tickles out there on the kayak slalom course, the Russian crosses the line. But now one of the biggest guns in Czech canoeing, Vavrup, he's known as Vavrup Fradelk, is on course. Prague local, his first World Cup victory was here in 2007. London 2012 Olympic silver and a 4-time world champion. Took the K1 world title in 2013. He's a wonderful talent. He recently won the team gold at the Europeans in Ivrea just 5 weeks ago, Georgina. And it's a good start.
Yeah, Vavrup's the guy to watch on Prague. He's a really amazing paddler. He's very close to the poles, very showy. He's pulling together a really nice run, just down on Jakob in that second split.
Yeah, 1/4 second only here between Jakob Grigar and Vavrup Fradelk.
And he's
Locked
done that
here.
super smooth.
Slovakia and the Czech are right in the heat of battle.
He's on the back and he's coming in and out. Really nice.
Started slalom in 1999 for fun as a high school sport, and he's come to the very top end of world kayaking. It's going to be really tight here, just outside, but qualification looking very possible.
Yeah.
Fourth place, 2.24 seconds down for Vavrup Fradelk, just completing. We are into the last 10, so very much on the cusp of making the finals. I mean, maybe the pressure will come on to cause some mistakes, but the quality of this last 10 is world class.
Next up is Jiří Prskavec, and he's amazing to watch on Troja. Off we go, and I am expecting this first upstream to be amazing.
Jiří Prskavec is on course, world #1, double world champion. He's a reigning K1 world champion from La Ciotat Girl 2 years ago in the north of Spain, battling Jakob Grigar, the young Slovakian. But it's close.
Oh, and he's done this awesome.
That was good. Just got the right angle of the wave, didn't he?
Yeah.
Cut back beautifully, the breakout maneuver.
We'll see this next split. Up by 2 seconds.
He's got a huge
Amazing.
advantage. That was the beautiful breakout to the upstream gate. 2 seconds now ahead. Jiří Prskavec. Oh, it's another very smooth upstream.
Goes for a punt. Super nice.
Well, this, barring a late tragedy here, has got to book him a final place. It must. It's been brilliant to watch. This is flawless here from the world #1 and world champion. And he just idles home. Such is the confidence. He just took the pressure off the paddle. Very, very cool.
Yeah. He knows it was good.
I mean, he didn't even charge the line, as if to say to the others, I'm that confident. I'll save my muscles for the finals.
Yeah. Maybe he doesn't want to go off last in the final.
Okay. Into the last 10 of the men's semi-finals kayaks at the Vltava Whitewater Centre. Prague Troja, we're just 7.5 kilometers up to the north of the capital city. As away goes Russia's Sergei Maimestov, the new starter, 24 years of age. He was at the Europeans this year in Evroya, 26th individually in the K1 category, early upstream era.
He just ducks his head around that inside pole.
It's some camera shot just into the waves of the river, showing all the difficulties. And it's just a forest of gates, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, Prague's amazing because it's a straight canal, and a lot of the canals we race on are curved. So it's really amazing to sit at the top and watch just like an ocean of gates in front.
Sergei Maimestov off the big stopper, down through this final section, just avoided collision with 24. Many haven't.
He goes into 17th.
He's going to miss out on the finals in Prague, but good late run for the Russian.
And Jiří will be the first to qualify for the final now.
Yeah, that was immaculate from the world #1. He will come back to battle for the title on home water. As away now goes Boris Neveu for France. 35 years of age, world ranked #8, and he hails from Pau in the Pyrenees. Started canoeing at 5 because his parents were also paddling.
He's just picked up an early touch on that first gate, first upstream. And he's having to work a bit harder than he would have wanted to get into 8. 4.5 seconds down on that first split. Controls it really nicely into that up, super tight.
Loris Neveu was the world individual and team champion, world champs in Deep Lake Creek in Maryland, the USA. That was a French podium entirely.
Was it?
Yeah.
Wow.
In 2014. And he's had very good forms, Boris, in the World Cups here in Prague as well. He was second here in 2015, third 2019. But I don't think he's going to make the finals, sadly, this morning.
Into 16th. It's a dramatic start. Felix Oschmaus is on course for Austria, only 21 years of age, and he is powerfully away. 0.03 down. He's putting together a super nice run. He's controlled it really nicely in and picked up a touch on the exit. Really nice in and out of that up, and he's 2.7 down on the split now. Another touch on the up. He did a really good job to push himself back into it.
Felix Oschmaus hails from Maria Saal in Carinthia, Austria's deep south, local to Klagenfurt in the south of Austria. He started at 9 years of age canoeing on the Socker River. Like many have started on the big Socker in Slovenia. And he was the World Junior Champion in Bratislava in 2017. This man's abilities, and he's still a young gun, Georgina, so not his morning today, but he'll be back, and he'll be back surely with quite a career ahead of him.
Yeah, Felix is still really young.
But now, from the youth of Felix Oschmaus to the brilliance and experience of Peter Kauser. I watched this man in preparation, and I must say he is electrifyingly talented. Reminded me of Candice Thovex, the great free skier, or Alex Honnold, the climber. This is extraordinary ability in the Slovenians' brain and body.
Yeah, I'd say one of the most experienced paddlers on the circuit, and you really see it.
Currently world rank number 4, Rio Olympic K1 kayak individual silver. Peter Kauser is off to a, well, faltering start, yeah, but still within touch of the time.
Yeah, I mean, 1.9 down with a 2-second penalty, so he's on raw time, up on the split, and he does a really good job keeping off that pole.
And I think we can see how he's really using the water's energy. He's not fighting, he's just flowing beautifully. Like, this is, again, a distinction I'm noticing.
Yeah, he's just got so much experience. Watch him here, like, amazing. Ooh.
He won his second European title here in Prague in 2018. It was a double European champion, having won in Bratislava back in 2010. And his bronze recently in Ivrea of the Europeans. In Italy, he's qualified him for Tokyo. Peter Kauser, has he done enough to come back is the question. Should have.
Third. The finger wag.
Yeah, it's okay because we have only another 6 more to come. Peter Kauser is going to qualify 9th or better. And certainly is a good man to come back for the final. He'll be a big danger, if not one of the biggest. Vichinjic is on the course now, one of the home favourites. We have 6 more to come only, and he's off to, again, a powerful start.
Vit's had a really great start of the season. He became European champion in Ivrea with an amazing run. He won 3 gold medals in 1 weekend, which was insane. He's done such a nice job around this upstream. 0.5 down on the first split, and he's really controlled it through here. So we'll see how he is on the next one. He's just lost a bit of time, 1.95 down, but he's still clean.
He's world ranked number 6. He was born here in Prague. He started kayaking on the Vltava at the University Sport Club at 7. Both his mum and dad kayakers, and dad competed at the Barcelona Olympics back in '92.
This was great. He really took a lot of speed off the stopper and got in and out of the up. Last 3 gates.
And he got just ahead of Giovanni De Gennaro. He'll be the last to drop this morning. And Peter Kauser at those Europeans. And he surely will come back. Yes.
Nice in a second.
So Yuri Prishkovic guaranteed. Vit Prindis goes into second with only now 5 more to come. It's going to be Poland, Germany, Great Britain, Brazil and Italy. As we say, Giovanni De Gennaro will be the last to paddle. Warming up nicely. Has anybody caught your eye particularly, Georgina, of these sort of last handful of kayakers? No, all good. Where's your money going on for the final?
Oh, I couldn't
Put your
even
neck
guess.
out.
I mean, the Czechs are amazing on Prague.
Okay, so home victory.
Yeah.
Maciej Polakic is on course now for Poland from Limonova in Poland. He's won 6 medals at the World Championships so far. Kay won silver in 2011, and he's not too far down, within 2 seconds.
He's just picked up 2 early touches, though. Whoa. He's uber tight around that pole.
And a superb 4th individually just off the podium. London 2012 in the K1 category. And he was actually back in 2012 second in this very World Cup here in Prague. From an extraordinary family, 6 siblings have all been either past or current members of the Polish national team.
He was super tight into that upstream, but he's ended up coming a little bit high. He's a little bit sticky.
Yeah, just fighting to get back to that upstream gates.
Yeah, I think those 2 touches will prove really costly because his raw time is really solid, really good.
Yes, a shame. 7.26 seconds down on Yuri Prishkovic's leading time. With those 4 seconds to add, good for a Maciej Polakic, but those touches very costly, sadly. Just 4 more to come. We are reaching a climax of the semis, and the finals looming large in our mindscapes as the world number 3 is on course. Hannes Eigner, 2018 world champion from Augsburg in the south of Germany. He was born there, where the famous Ice Canal course is. the Munich Olympics. That's
Ooh,
a
just
great venue.
backing off there, but I don't think he lost much time.
No, it's a powerful start from Hanna Zeigner.
And another shaft touch on the inside pole on 9. We've seen a few of those so far.
Yeah, shame he was within touch with 1 second only the deficit, but that touch at 9 and another one out of 13, that was a shame, because I think he could have ducked. He almost sort of lost awareness there to my eye. That was good. Beautiful.
Great.
Spun around 16.
Super nice through here.
And as Zeigner cuts back through 19. Just lost a little bit of momentum off the big stopper. I think again raw speed has been good, but again, like Matthias, we just saw the pole. It's a costly 4 seconds to add for the German.
Oh no.
Yeah, sadly, he's going to put him out. It would have been only 1.31 back, and that's cost him qualification. We have just 3 more to come. And the next to come is the reigning K1 Rio Olympic champion. He took gold in Brazil ahead of Peter Kauser. He's looking like he'll join him in the final. Great Britain's Joe Clark is away, 28 years of age, world rank number 2. He'll also start the extreme canoe slalom here in Prague. From Stoke-on-Trent up in the north of England at Staffordshire. But he trains at Lee Valley, the Olympic course of London 2012, and it's a super start for the Olympic champion.
Over an 8 down, so really in touch on that first split. Whips it around here, super nice.
That was power, because he almost got caught on the wave and he just held the line. Sheer bicep power. Where was the loss of time there? Because he's suddenly...
He wasn't as in and out of that upstream as a lot of the other boys. Oh, and he's done a really good job there.
Yeah, Joe Clark is fighting for his life here, because we're not sure where that time loss was exactly, but he's really now gritting his teeth for a qualification to the final for the Olympic champion. He's got it all to do in this last run for the line.
And a clean run.
Yes, qualified. Poof. Cut it quite close there.
Yeah.
6th place, 2.59 seconds down, clean run, and that was crucial. 6th with only now 2 more to come. So Joe Clark will come back to battle for the Prague World Cup, first of the 2021 season. Little wobble of his kayak up at the starters, and Matthias Vega is on course now for Brazil. 27 years of age. His last outing was in Po, World Cup of last year, 4th in the World Cup. That was his best World Cup finish to date. And it's again a very deft, very agile start here from the Brazilian. Yuri Priskovic's time still heads.
Oh, and he's just turned too early. He's gone straight past 9.
Yeah, that's a devastating early blow for Matthias. Got to have the head and part of the boat simultaneously through the gate, and the Brazilian shy of 9, and further insult to injury, sadly, coming at 13. So I'm not sure who it is that was on the cusp, but there's one lucky qualifier as a result of this misfortune for the Brazilian. Quite sure who it is that's going to qualify. We'll see in a moment. And Mathieu Denot now just slightly limping towards the line. It's so frustrating to have this late start and all of the hopes of the final qualification spot to come unstuck in this manner. We've got a feel for the Brazilian. Crosses the line, but I'm afraid 9 is his downfall. And the frustration for our Brazilian visitor. So the last of the semi-finals is on course. Giovanni De Gennaro, 28 years of age, world number 7. That superb silver, world champs of 2014. He took a kayak team gold here in Prague in 2013. The team gold medal with the Italians. But again, it's an early blemish for the last of the semis.
Yeah, he's picked up an early touch, so he's 2.2 seconds down on the first split. Whoa, he controls this amazingly, just getting his chin in there. Still almost the same deficit on the second split, so he's really keeping up with Evie. Does this really nicely.
Yeah, still in touch is Giovanni De Gennaro down that big stopper to cut back to 21. That was very, very tight. So last section of the Vltava River for Giovanni De Gennaro as he comes across the line, and it's a very good qualification. Pumps his fist, and he will be back to battle the likes of Yuri Priskovic and Vit Prindis. Very good for the home nation. And Georgina, well, it's been a very good men's semis, and you're going for home victory. Final starting at 12 o'clock this afternoon.
Yeah, it would be great to watch Jess.
I guess, yeah, Australian hope's pretty high, and she's very much on the build-up for Tokyo, looking for her first Olympic gold medal.
Yeah. Some super cool slow-mo shots here.
This is a superb sport, and as we say, booming. 35 nations will head to the Olympics for the Kasai Olympic course in Tokyo. Coming up end of July, 25th is the first of the canoe slalom dates, 25th of July. Well, some spectators are allowed.
Yeah.
Maskless. Nice
Yeah.
to see.
The only maskless spectators.
So, Georgina Collins, thank you very much for your company.
Thanks for having me.
And ladies and gentlemen, we will be back at 12 o'clock. We have 2 wonderful finals to bring you. The ladies and men's kayak finals of this first World Cup of the 2021 season. From myself, Ed Holloway, goodbye. 30 minutes, grab yourselves a cup of tea and come back, because the battle is brewing here in the Czech Republic. Thanks for your company.